Hi everybody, and welcome back to my little piece of TT120. What are we going to look at today? Well, today we're going to look at building the station kit. I've had it set around there, and then we can get all the buildings ready for painting, including the shed and the signal box here. I'm also going to look how I'm just going to soften the edges on the signal box, the brickwork. The printing there, it's a bit coarse for stonework and it looks more like large bricks, so I'm just going to tone those down a little bit. But before we look at that, we're going to quickly discuss the fact that Helgen have joined in TT120 class 122 bubble cars, which is perfect for this layout. It's just what I want for this layout, little bubble cars shuffling in and out. Perfect. And they've also announced the Deltics. Now the Deltics, I'm not really going to fit in on this one, but the future project, once I've sold some of this stuff over here to make room in here and have a reorganisation again for the umpteenth time, and of course I've still got to do plastic sidings, they're going to be great and they're going to fit in my era that I'm going to model. Another thing that Hornby announced was terriers. Now I'm a bit of a sucker for terriers. I love terriers. I've got O-gauge terriers, I've got an N-gauge terrier. Somewhere else in here I've got a double O-gauge terrier, Rails of Sheffield one, and I used to own a 5-inch gauge terrier way back in the late 80s. So yeah, a bit of a sucker. So obviously I've ordered a terrier. So out comes the regular wagons here. Well, you know, I've got to have something for them to pull when they come out. And it turns out that these Peco SR wagons have got the revised couplings on them. So I thought that was the first batch, but they've been revised as well. So that's all good. So the first thing we're going to look at is the signal box here. Just take the roof off. I've already looked at the back here. As you can see, I've given it a good scrub. It's quite uniform and a block-like. So what I have is this, it's not a fiberglass pen, but it's got these stainless steel metal bristles in there. And I'm just going to scrub along, and hopefully it just takes a squareness off the corners. It just softens them and rounds them a little bit. That's all I'm after doing. I don't want to get, you know, sand all the way through, all the way down to the flat plastic underneath, the resin. I just want to soften them a bit. But that's all I'm after doing, is just softening the blocks. I'm not going to bother under here. I can't get under there without doing even more damage, I don't think. So like I say, just softens the blocks a bit so they're just a bit less brickwork like. Righty-ho, let's have a look at this Peco LK12101 country station building. I'm not going to finish it quite the same as this, but let's see what we got. Pretty simple instructions, I think. 9 stages, so it seems quite simple. So what have we got? 4 laser cut boards. Each has a number of each part, so we can get the right part, which is always helpful. Some clear plastic sheet for the windows, and yeah, 4 sets of walls, and chimney pots, depending on which sort you want. Okay, it's just for information, it is slightly warped, some of these parts, so hopefully it'll all square up as we glue parts together, but they'll key in. So first off, we want parts 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Where's it still attached? I don't think it's really attached at all. Tie a little bit in this corner and that corner. That's part 1, and it says top. So on the back you can just see some tiny little bits where it is still attached in some corners. It's not many. There's a piece there. Definitely your sharpest blades are what you need. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we have the front. So the writing obviously goes on the inside of the building. He will go there. We've got 5, which goes on this end of the building. 4 goes on the back wall. Let's just try and get these bits first. There we go. 3 goes on here. That's got it. So as long as all the writing's on the inside of the building, you got them the right way around. I'll get some PVA glue and I'll start to glue this in. Basically I've got one of these little bottles here and I've just got some PVA inside. So we'll just start running a bead. So having glued the 4 sides together and onto the base, I've just gone around and run a bead of glue all the way around the inside in the corners just to give it added bit of strength. So the issue we have currently is it's trying to twist slightly. So what I'm going to do is add a weight just on top there just to hold it flat on the table while I go and have my cup of tea, and hopefully it will try not to twist too much. Righty ho, stage 2 now. Got my cup of tea, I had a bit of lunch, a nice steak sandwich, but more importantly I found my glasses so I can actually now see what I'm actually doing, which is a bonus. So I need, according to this, we've got some end walls to do, an interior wall. Not sure where that locates into. I think that's the doors and the windows, so yep, that'll go in the doors there. And outside walls. There we go. So that's going to slide in there to make the 2 doors. So let's get that glued in. One little useful thing that I do have is these. Now these came on a coat hanger type thing at the clothes shop, so just chopped off the bar because it was plastic, you can't get it separate, and that makes the hinge, but they got a nice little rubber pad in there so it didn't damage the clothes or whatever was hung on it. Perfect for this. Get the knife in just around the edge of the window just to clean out any bits of glue that have squirted out. So I'll do the other side wall and come back. I now have to put this barge board, number 11, on the top edge of number 7. It's got it. Now what there is little slots cut in the top of this, so we've got to line these up with the slots that are actually on the roof and on the top. So this is definitely magnifying, and I'm going to do this just out of camera shot. So you can just see them there all lined up on the top there, as close as I could get to the edge. So that I can now glue on this end of this building. Anyway, the big clamps don't fit, close pegs, and we'll give that 10 minutes to go off. So I fitted the barge boards on the other end, and again just stick it on, and we'll stick that on there. Okay, lining up all the little corners, pushing them in, make sure they're all the way home, and clamp on this end. And now we'll leave that to dry, and that is the end of stage 2. I won't video stage 3 and stage 4 because all that is doing is on this end using these portions we can build the inner building again, and then put the exterior on with the exterior barge boards. Quite simple. Well, it's coming along quite nicely now, don't you think? So the next part appears to be starting the canopy and the roof ceiling inside, and the ceiling over the toilet block and the window ledges. We'll start to line it up. So we'll do a dry fit, try and squeeze it on there. There's a couple of bits there that are a bit tight, but then that'll all go down to how well it's sandwiched and how straight it all is, and whether you've got any little dry bits of glue on the edges. We'll just plonk that on there and give that 5 minutes. And so that's glued on. We'll do the toilet roof now. Part 27 is really fine. Now this is actually the gutter. So you've got 2 slots in here which it glues into. You have a pattern side of the roof panel, which is part 26, and the wood side. Obviously you glue the wood side down, so we'll just run a bead of glue. So there you have a tiny little gutter and the flat roof on the toilets. So the next part will be to start and assemble the canopy. So the first parts of the canopy are the brackets. Now these are really fine. So I'll move that in there because that is laser cut. If I bring up a piece of paper, you should see that you can see through all the lattice work there. That is really fine. Just slot straight over there, all the way in. Perfect. So I'll glue these all in. Yep, that's got that in there. So I'll just run a bead of glue along the inside. So having secured that on there, we just got the 2 little end valances to fit and some window ledges to go around. And the last one. And they were pushed in there really easy, so they're all good. So that's all that section done. So that's stage 5 complete. Now that's dry enough to do the next part. We're going to be doing the starting of the inside of the roof here. So what we need first is number 33. There's 33. Now that goes along the centre there, and it's got the serrated top there as part of the ridge detail there of the roof. So there's 33, and slotting up on the bottom is number 34, and there should be 3 of those. And yep, here they are, 34. Canopy direction is indicated, so you have to make sure you're getting the right way round. So we've got 3 of those, and what I'll do is I'll do those 3 first, I think. So they should all be the same direction, which they are. They all say canopy to the front. Canopy, canopy, canopy. So now we can slot this in. So chimney at this end, this bit slots in through this chimney. All the way through there. This one slides in this chimney, slot it in. It's going in. That's it, and we're in. Push that all the way down there. Try not to break the ridges on the top. So now we'll run a bead of glue around, and now we do the chimneys. So these are 2 number 36s there, and 2 number 35s. So the 36s, 35s, because you've got to make sure your canopies are right. So we do the 36s first. So the 35s go on this side of that chimney, and the same on that chimney. So they go in this slot here. Easy as. Slide him down there. Clips in nicely. And a bead of glue. Again, checking the canopy direction. These slots in here on this side of the chimney. And that's building up the chimney nicely, and I'll just repeat the same on that chimney down there. So it's coming along really nicely, and it is quite robust, and all slots in beautifully. So that, once this is dry, is the roof sort of truss is done, and the only other part of this piece now is to glue the edging around the base of the building. It's just a few strips. Now that I've got all the stones around the bottom, I'm just going around with this little squeezy bottle thing, and I'm just filling in the end where the wood is, gently where there's slight little gaps, just using it for a little bit of filler. It's easy to move around here just to fill up the tiny little holes. I think that'll do. So now we're on to the finishing touches. once these last few bits have dried. Time for a cup of tea. Before I was rudely interrupted by realising, or not realising, that my battery had gone flat. I've fitted the roof. Now the roof has no glue to fix it. You've got the slot here and one at that end as well in here, and basically all that's supposed to happen is you slot it that end in the slot, flex it, slot that end in the slot, and that should be it. And trying not to break the ridge, and get it in place. There we go. Get it in around the chimney. And that is the roof in place. So I'm just going to put a spot of glue in the middle here to stop it bowing, because it is trying to bow a little bit where it's squeezed in a couple of places, and I'm going to put a bit of glue under the middle of the ridge just to hold it all together, just to give it a bit of strength, because it is a delicate piece of fretwork on the top there, whatever you want to call it. So okay, so that is the roof in place. According to the instructions, we now fit the 4 drain pipes, which are just square bits of varying shapes, 50, 51 and 52. They've all got their different places. So these two here, 50, they go on the front under the canopy. So there's a little hole in the roof up there, one at each end, and a little slot at the bottom. Probably again one that I should have tried before slotting it in. Oh no, it slips in there nicely. That's it. That's one drain pipe. And then we'll do the other. Just the tiniest little spot, just to lock it in place so it doesn't get knocked. And that's that section done. So the canopy roof is easy, depending on how you assembled this. Whether I've assembled it correctly exactly, I don't know, but it's supposed to slot in there. And slide under there. Just the chimneys left to do. This one is made of 3 pieces, and these 2 are all finished with 2 pieces each, because there's already a top. 53s, there they are. So all there is to them. And we'll just glue pinch it in there. There's one. This side. that's 2 chimneys. Last chimney, 3 pieces. So if you look here, I'm just going to bring it up closer. Hopefully you'll see there's an X, little X's. That's where the chimney bands go, so you need to ensure that you get them. This one here, it should only go in one way, but you get him the right way around. So first off, we'll do this side into the roof of the toilet. We'll just run a bead down because he doesn't want to stay stuck. Yeah, this chimney's not as nice as the others to do. Yeah. Oh dear. Oh, we got there. Now my fingers all covered in glue. Everything's covered in glue. Right. We'll just run some down the inside. Right, that's got that. That was not as much fun as I was hoping. But there we go. Chimney's done. Once it goes together, it's fine. It's just didn't want to play ball. So now just have to decorate the chimneys. So we have on the chimneys lots of different pieces to go on, and there are all these bits of chimney. So we've got 2 squares and a rectangle. 2 squares and a rectangle. So at the bottom we have a 58, then a 59, then another 59. They go down on the bottom one with the cross there. So 58, 59 and 59. So we'll get this out. So 58, we're going to have to be careful with these. Make sure you definitely... There's one. So that's 2 58s. That's a 58 and 2 59s. So the theory is these slide over the chimney with the 58 at the bottom. Oh, that's snug. That is snug. Oh, that's going to be squeezed down there. Fine, let's see if we can ease it down to where it needs to be, and that is slide it down on the chimney to this X. If you can see that bottom X there, these 58 and 2 59s slide down onto there. Oh, that's broke. That's broke, which has probably made it easier anyway. So we'll glue him on there with 2 of these ones. Okay, so I've got those on there, so we'll put some glue on to hold them in place. Then we slide the pieces all the way home. And I think we've got it. Just going to put a smear of glue around the top just to hold them all in place at the top. I don't think they're going to go anywhere in a hurry, but we'll consider that a bit of cement mortar. Right, I shall repeat it on this chimney. So that's the first two chimneys done, and I shall continue with parts number 61 and 262s and do the same on this chimney. And I suspect this one's going to fight me a bit more than the other two. So that's that. So now again to the tops of the chimneys, but this time it's only two. So it's one of each and one of each on top. So there we have the chimneys all bricked up. Unfortunately the thin one broke on both of these, so it doesn't matter. You can't really tell. So all we've got to do now is put the caps on top of the chimneys and the chimney pots. And they're easy enough. Just a little spot of glue around the top. And we'll let it flood down the inside as well. And job's a good one. I'll let them dry off while I go and have dinner, and we'll come back and fit the pots. Right, what chimney pots to have? Now, like I say, we have a choice of two different chimney pots, plain ones or with the big caps on the top. I'm going to go for the more plain chimney in this situation. So I want 3 of those. And how well do they fit? Oh, they fit nicely. I'm going to orient the caps all the same way. There's just enough glue in there to hold them. Pull this one up a bit, I'll push him down a bit far compared to the others. So and the last one. And that is that. One completely built station. Well, I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to wait for the pots to dry, and then I shall go and give it a coat of grey primer, and hopefully that'll mean the details stand out a bit and we can see what it will look like ready for painting. Well, this has been a longer day, so we've finished the tea and we're now on the cider. However, this was just a kit that took today to build. So there we have Wilmington Riverside Station building. That'll be ready for painting now and detailing up, and everything else, weathering. But I think that has come out really nicely. That's a really nice little kit. You know, it's got loads of detail on there really, and I'm really happy with that. It looks good. You know, the quality of fit, some of it needs a bit of tweaking. You got to really make sure that you get everything located properly and fully home for everything to fit afterwards. But you know, you can see where I've filled with PVA some of the little gaps, but with more layers of paint on, they'll all disappear and it'll all blend in nicely. So that's that. And the signal box, well, I've just softened the edges on the blockwork there. You can see the difference just about between how it was and how it is now. It's just softened it slightly, just a little bit less harsh, and most of that will be covered up and painted different colours, the same as this building, and that'll be on for next time, I reckon. Getting close. So there we have it. I think that's a really nice little kit. That's the Peco LK12101 country station. There's little laser cut plywood things. There's some really fine detail-y bits on that, and it has gone together straightforward, no real issues whatsoever. And yeah, that'll look nice on the layout there, and we'll have a few little things to do with this just to make it a bit unique, shall we say. That's the plan for next time. So I hope you enjoyed that. It's probably going to be quite long even when I've edited this. There's absolutely loads of footage here. I thought I'd share with you the build and see how it went, and it went very well. You guys, you all know the score by now. You know, questions, observations, statements, anything, like, subscribe, all down the bottom, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.